present to y'all a speech on the Adoptees' Right to Know law. The Adoptees' Right to Know law is a law that states that adult adopters can have the right to access their original birth certificate. When someone is adopted, their birth certificate is changed from their biological parents' name to their adoptees' parents' names. Their original birth certificate is then sealed and put away, and they cannot access it. After doing much research on this law, I'm here to tell you why this law needs to be passed in all states. I do not know everyone's background in the classroom, and I do not know if anyone is adopted in here, but I could imagine not being able to access your own personal records because you are adopted. Today, I will tell you what the law is and what states it is passed in, and I will tell you how this law can be beneficial to people who are adopted. Adoptees cannot get access to their own personal record, which is why we should support the Adoptees' Right to Know law in Mississippi. And now, I will explain more. According to www.archive.pov.org, around 135,000 children are adopted in the United States every year. According to www.consideringadoption.com, a few rights that adopted children do not have the right legal access to birth certificate, knowledge of potentiality, life-saving medical history, and knowledge of one's personal history. Now, what if a child has a disease that is genetic, but they cannot get access to their birth certificate or birth records to find out with their biological parents and how they handle that disease? According to www.pewtrust.org, at least 9 states have the Adoptees' Right to Know law. These states are Alabama, Alaska, Colorado, Hawaii, Kansas, Maine, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Oregon. As stated on AdopteesRightsLaw.com, in Mississippi, one cannot access their birth records even if they are an adult and release the original birth certificate requires a court order. According to Pennsylvania Republican State Representative Terry Benioff, many legislators have no idea what law is and just vote instead of researching what it is about. He is an adoptee who is unsuccessfully sponsored in an open access bill 3 times is trying again this session. And this is a state of Mississippi birth certificate for y'all. See? Opponents that argue that birth records should not be open to adoptees to keep their birth mother secret because often the mother had the baby out of wedlock and they do not want it to be known. According to Missouri Republican State Representative Bill White, who is an adoptive parent, he voted no because changing the law restrictively is unfair to birth parents who wanted to keep it private. According to www.motherjones.org, Erica Bambino was born 55 years ago in New York and was adopted in Texas when she was 25. She tried to get access to her birth records. She went to New York and cried when she visited her social worker, who had the file of her records sitting on her desk, but she would not let her access them. She states, "There's absolutely no reason why an adult cannot make a decision about their own lives and able to have access to their original birth certificate, just like every other American. This is a negative effect on a person's life." Could you imagine wanting to know your true identity and having someone tell you that you cannot know? To conclude, I want to ask you a question. Why can't this law be passed in every state? By passing these laws, adoptees can have access to their birth records, which could help them know their biological background and knowledge of potentially life-saving information. Now, you know the problem adoptees face, and now you know how we can change them. This problem they are facing just by passing a very simple law. Adoptees cannot get access to their own personal records, which is why we should support the Adoptees' Right to Know law in Mississippi. I believe adopted children in America should have the rights just like every other non-adopted person in America. Just by passing this law can be very beneficial to this group of people.
Very good.